89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake. 89.3 Lakes FM. It's the Megacast, an hour-long TV and radio streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Live from West Bloomfield, we're bringing you the news, updates, and information impacting communities around Michigan. Join our host, Tyler Kieft, as he talks with community members, business leaders, and professional experts about the stories that impact you. You're watching the Megacast on Civic Center TV.
There are many different kinds of noses. Our noses can sniff out all kinds of things. Good things and bad things. Your nose knows if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Oakland County and the state of Michigan. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. You can always join us Monday through Friday live across Oakland County and across the state of Michigan on Civic Center TV and on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is our live show. You'll also find us live to tape throughout the mornings, afternoons, and evenings all throughout the week on a number of our other partnering stations, including in northern Oakland County on Orion Neighborhood Television, serving Lake Orion and Orion Township. And you can also find us live to tape in the Birmingham Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access on cable television as well. And all of our partnering stations. You can find links to their websites, find even more information about original programming from our partners in your community each and every day outside of the 1 hour Monday through Friday. Each and every day they're joining with us here on the Megacast by clicking through those links, civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll also find each one of our full episodes and every single individual segment on demand as well. Also, a great place to go is our local news page on civiccentertv.com, where each and every day we link to articles from publications all throughout the local area and across the state of Michigan to keep you up to date on what's happening right here in your hometown and all across the state, affecting us here in Oakland County. Our top story this morning comes from Matthew Farr at the Oakland Press, where today's Oxford Community School District Board of Education meeting will be the final one for its president, Dan D'Alessandro, who will make his retirement official this week Friday following over 10 years of service to the board. D'Alessandro said his retirement from this position will be because he is moving out of town, out of the school district, and therefore is no longer eligible to be serving as a board member nor as president of the board. Per board policy, the vice president, Heather Schaefer, may assume the position of president of Oxford Community School District's school board for the remainder of this calendar year if she accepts the promotion. Then after that, a new president would be formally selected by a vote of the entire board, including officers and trustees, in January of 2024. On his exit, D'Alessandro reflected on a difficult recent past in Oxford schools, but noted that his exit comes with nothing but love for both Oxford, the community, and its school district, stating, quote, "Although we've had a terrible tragedy here, it is still a very good school district and one people should be proud of. I am not leaving because I am not proud of it. I am simply moving out of the district, and by law, I will not be able to continue to serve on this board, end closed quote. D'Alessandro served twice as the president of the school board in Oxford, first from 2016 to 2018, and then beginning his current tenure as the president of the board following the shooting at Oxford High School in November of 2021. After the resignation of then board president Tim Donnelly, which occurred in September of 2022. He was appointed president after soon-to-be outgoing vice president Chad Griffith decided not to accept the appointment from VP to president because his term was ending in just about a couple of months after that point, and so he decided it's best to not have multiple changeovers of the president of this board in just a few months. He's going to pass that on, went down the line. D'Alessandro was the next person in line for the presidency and assumed it at that point. Despite his pride for service to the district over the past 11 years that he's been serving as a trustee and an officer on this board as president most recently, D'Alessandro did state that he feels a sense of disappointment that his term will end before there is a true sense of closure from the tragic shooting that occurred in November of 2021 at Oxford High School, saying, quote, I think if you were to ask anybody who truly knows who I am, I don't ever walk away from a fight. I don't ever walk away from a challenge, as much as I have tried to bring closure to that, not just for the district, but more importantly for the families. I could just not do it because the timing just did not line up, end closed quote. Again, tonight's board meeting in Oxford is the final meeting for Dan D'Alessandro's tenure on the Oxford School Board, and his tenure officially ends this Friday, June 30th. Per his resignation as he moves out of town. That full article with more information on and context on this story from the Oakland Press and their author Matthew Farr can be found linked on our website this morning, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page. Also making headlines this morning on our local news page from Mike Corey at the Royal Oak Review. Taco Fest is coming back in Royal Oak in just a few days, kicking off for the Independence Day weekend on June 30th and running all the way through the 4th of July. This year's event is expanding off of last year's inaugural event's success while also re-strategizing the layout of the event and the timing of the event, as well as the structure, to prevent some of the congestion and the slowdown in food lines and activities that occurred last year, as the festival attracted even more of a mass of people than they were even expecting to have during the few days that it ran in 2022. The expansion of the festival means an extra day for this year's event and an increase in food truck variety by 20%, said organizer John Witz, who also runs other local festivals in Oakland County, including Royal Oaks Winter Blast, as well as Arts Beats and Eats. The question Witz and his team had to answer wasn't who would do the festival, who would participate, but how do they then pull that off without overcrowding or making some vendors and entertainment acts stand out more than others? Witz told the Royal Oak Review, quote, the recruiting of restaurants has been, it's a lot of logistics work, but we haven't had to sell that part. Top local musicians want to play at this festival, so the entertainment and programming has been more logistics than a hard sell. And it's really just what are you curating? What is the right size for an event like this? What is the right amount of activities for this kind of a crowd? And what crowd is likely to be attending this year's event? And close quote. That's really what they were looking at. How do they modify this year's event to keep the excitement high for Royal Oak Taco Fest? Of course, get as many people as they possibly can out to the event to patronize both the event and the local community nearby in downtown Royal Oak, and still hold a very fun event on the 4th of July weekend. This year's festival will feature a number of food trucks for many different tastes, as well as music, the return of lucha libre wrestling, axe throwing, a pet costume contest, and even more. Tickets are currently on sale. A pre-sale on RoyalOakTacoFest.com for $8 in advance. You can also pay at the door when you arrive at the gate at Royal Oak Taco Fest, beginning this Friday and running through July 4th for $12. But if you pay in advance, you save $4 and still get to go to Royal Oak Taco Fest. Want to hear even more about the second annual Royal Oak Taco Fest? Head over to CivicCenterTV.com's on-demand page and just search for Taco Fest to see our recent interview with John Witz, the organizer of the event, where he talks about planning this year's festival after learning some lessons from last year's inaugural event of Royal Oak Taco Fest, expanding it to an extra day, how that helps the festival, how that hopefully will make this year's experience that much better, as well as relieving some of the congestion that happened last year as they tried to pack thousands of people into this event over just a few days. And of course, talking about security measures that are in place and his communications with local and county-wide security and policing in order to make sure this is a safe event. We've had some other incidents of recent times at other events throughout Oakland County that have brought up maybe some questions of the security of these kinds of events or what needs to go into considerations for security and monitoring possible incidents that may arise at these events. He also addressed that with us in that interview from a previous edition of the Megacast. You can find that on our website today on civiccentertv.com. Just go to our on-demand page and search Royal Oak Taco Fest to find that. This full article from CNG News is the Royal Oak Review, one of our many local newspapers through CNG News, is linked today on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page. In addition, making headlines this morning on our local news page from Bridge, Michigan's U Stella U, high-speed internet in rural areas and other underserved communities of the state of Michigan may soon be expanding thanks to funding from the federal government. Michigan will be receiving $1.5 billion in federal grants to expand its broadband internet infrastructure, focusing on just over 200,000 homes in underserved or unserved communities in the state. That's per an announcement from Governor Gretchen Whitmer on Monday. The money coming to the Great Lakes state will be distributed through the relatively new Michigan High-Speed Internet Office, which was formed in 2021 as part of the Federal Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, otherwise known as BEAD, enacted through the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. Michigan's $1.5 billion internet infrastructure grant is a part of a nationwide funding effort of $42.45 billion available in all U.S. states and territories through these grants. While Michigan's internet access rate is actually relatively high, sitting at about 93% in the high-speed category, which is marked by the federal government as average speeds of 25 megabits per second or above, some areas of Michigan still have a significantly higher number of residents that are without access to that high-speed internet, including in Lucey County, where less than 40% of residents have access to high-speed internet. That is especially an issue across the state of Michigan for low-income households, where 35% of households that are bringing in $20,000 or less did not have access to high-speed internet. This could play a big role in helping to bridge some of those gaps technologically right here in the Great Lakes state. That means tougher access for them if they don't have access to this high-speed internet. They may have a more difficult time accessing job applications, paying their bills. Maybe they do work from home. Maybe that's the best opportunity for them is to work from home, around their kids, around their community. Maybe transportation is an issue and that helps them, but without access to high-speed internet, that can be a lot more difficult. Same goes for paying your bills, staying up to date on news in your local community, and being able to communicate with friends and family and others in your community, nearby or all around the world. All of that is very much helped by having access to high-speed internet, and hopefully this over $1.5 billion of grant money from the federal government will do a lot to move that forward for these underserved and unserved communities right here in Michigan. Under the governor's administration, high-speed internet access has actually been a focal point, with the administration bringing in over $400 million in broadband improvements thus far before securing these $1.5 billion in grant funds from the federal government. Now, keep in mind, these grant funds are not all going to come into play right away. There will be hundreds of thousands of dollars already infused into the state of Michigan off the bat as a result of these grants. $100 million will be received by each state or territory participating in the grant initially, and then the rest of the money is going to be allocated based on each state's broadband needs over time. So Michigan could get upwards of $1.5 billion in federal grants. That's a current estimate that could change over time depending on how Michigan's broadband internet infrastructure continues to change. Maybe that becomes a little bit more accessible to people in places like Lucey County, where it was noted in this article that 40% of its residents don't have access to high-speed internet. Maybe this becomes a little more accessible to those 35 or so percent of Michiganders making less than $20,000 a year who don't have high-speed internet access, and that could impact some of that $1.5 billion estimated coming to the state. But initially, $100 million going toward these efforts here in the state of Michigan, the rest allocated based on state needs. Currently, Michigan ranks 28th among states in the union, according to Broadband Now, a data aggregation company conducting research on broadband accessibility. That is per this article from Bridge, Michigan. There's even more information, even more details about just how different or how many disparities there are in high-speed internet access in the state of Michigan. Highly encourage you to click through and read that full article from you, Stella. You, great job as always, keeping up to date on really important stories here in the state of Michigan, especially when it comes to our infrastructure and access to some of these necessities like high-speed internet. Even more of a necessity in today's world than it's been in the past several decades, especially, and it's become even more important over the last 30 years through the COVID-19 pandemic and into the present. CivicCenterTV.com on our local news page, a third article down today on this Tuesday edition of the Megacast. Lastly, making headlines on our local news page this morning from the Detroit Free Press's Frank Witzel, gas prices remain lower than a year ago by over $1.50 at this time, with the average price of gasoline on Monday in Michigan sitting at $3.52. That's, however, with relatively low demand, a major holiday weekend still on the way, and uncertainty in the oil sector as one of the greatest oil-producing countries in the world, Russia, followed last weekend's brief uprising in southeast Russia by the Wagner Group. How may that impact things going forward as Russia recovers from that uprising in southeastern Russia that challenged the power of Vladimir Putin and his defense sector? That could play an impact in the coming days and weeks, potentially, but there's no indication of that at this time. $3.52 per gallon, the current average in the state of Michigan, a lot more palatable than a year ago at this time, when the average price at the pump had soared well over $5 per gallon, and even still a lot less painful on your wallet to go to the pump than a month ago at this time, when prices were on average across the state 11 cents higher than they are presently. Patrick Tahan from the gas tracking app Gas Buddy was noted in the Detroit Free Press saying it's been another odd week in gas prices nationwide, but also urged caution in how pricing may be affected in the coming days. Because of the uprising and the effects of that uprising in Russia over last weekend. How could the lingering effects of that potentially impact oil production in Russia, which will impact oil prices across the world, and of course those prices per gallon for unleaded gasoline at the pump right here in our communities. While prices may go up in the near future, when that may happen as we approach the weekend of the 4th of July, that's going to have a big impact. 4th of July happening on Monday, and that means that there's a long weekend that may include Friday this week or even Tuesday of next week, potentially both. So more people expected to be out on the roads and traveling across the Union this 4th of July weekend. Nationally, travel metrics are expected to hit new heights over the 4th of July, with AAA estimating 2.1 million more Americans will be on our roads, on our trains, and in the air traveling as they celebrate our nation's independence. That means more oil to make fuel, lower supply, more demand. Simple economics, you can maybe expect those prices to go up. They typically do right around the holidays. Around Memorial Day, prices did hike briefly before the holiday and then quickly shot back down by over 10 cents per gallon just after Memorial Day. So $3.52 per gallon, currently the state average. That may be the bargain of the week. If you need to fill up, it may not be the worst idea to do that earlier on in the week as opposed to as we approach the 4th of July weekend, when prices may go up as demand potentially will go up, with over 2.1 million Americans expected to be traveling more this 4th of July weekend than a year ago, according to AAA. In the state of Michigan, the most expensive gas prices are in Ann Arbor at $3.57 per gallon, as well as in Metro Detroit and Marquette, both at $3.61 per gallon, almost 10 cents above the statewide average. For the most affordable gas in Michigan, you'll have to go to mid-Michigan to Flint and Saginaw, where Flint is at $3.42 a gallon, Saginaw at $3.43 per gallon, or a little bit further beyond that, Benton Harbor, $3.43 per gallon, the lowest prices in the state of Michigan. More information on what's impacting oil and gas prices in the U.S. and, of course, right here in Michigan from Frank Witzel and the team at the Detroit Free Press can be found on our website this morning, CivicCenterTV.com, on our local news page. Finally, also making news around town on social media and in the community, improvements are happening right now, this summer, in the Bloomfield Hills School District as they march toward a new era that begins this fall when they kick off the new school district for fall of 2023. Schools are shifting, new beginnings are being made in old facilities, and the district may look a little bit different come this fall, but that also means a bit more of a normal grade level division in our local schools. So let's take a look back. In 2020, those in the Bloomfield Hills School District voted in favor of a bond proposal that promoted renovating several buildings across the school district, consolidating and combining some elementary schools into larger facilities, and improving middle school buildings and other buildings owned by the school district to expand the facilities for middle schools, fit more students into those buildings, and allow their current buildings to be used by elementary schools so they're not as compact as they have been in recent years. So what that's going to look like, the big goal of all of this was to move back toward a structure where in the K-12 path in the Bloomfield Hills School District, you have kindergarten through 5th grade in your elementary schools, you have 6th grade through 8th grade in your middle schools, and then in your high schools you have 9th grade through 12th grade. In recent years, some of the middle schools have had to include 4th grade through 8th grade in order to make extra space in the elementary schools. For example, here in West Bloomfield, part of the Bloomfield Hills School District, is Lone Pine Elementary School. Pretty compact in the last few years, trying to fit as many students into that building as possible. So they had to reduce it to be a kindergarten through 3rd grade building with West Hills Middle School, then expanding to be 4th grade through 8th grade. Now that's going to be different. Lone Pine Elementary School, here's what some of the new layout is going to look like. And there's plenty of information on this on bloomfield.org/bond. Lone Pine Elementary School on Lone Pine, just before Middle Belt, is going to be moving right down the street to the current West Hills Middle School building. That's now going to be the new Lone Pine Elementary School building. A similar thing is happening on the east side of the Bloomfield Hills School District, where Eastover Elementary School is going to move in to what has been East Hills Middle School. The other elementary schools on the east side of the district, Way Elementary School just off of Telegraph Road, and Conant Elementary Schools are actually going to be renovated. If we take a look at the Bloomfield Hills Schools Bond website, you can see some images at the top of the screen. As we scroll down that screen, there is a video on there that slides through what Way Elementary's improvements are going to look like as they expand that building to bring more elementary school students into there. That's exactly what's going to happen and is currently ongoing at Conant Elementary as well. If we scroll up, we may be able to see, I believe, Conant Elementary School, or at the very least, we'll see the new middle school buildings. Yeah, North Hills Middle School. That is going to be on the campus of what had previously been Lasser High School. Lasser High School was formally disbanded in 2013, but was the home of Bloomfield Hills High School while they were building the current Bloomfield Hills High School on the former Andover High School site. That's my alma mater. That's how I know a little bit of this history going back to the early 2010s. North Hills Middle School is going to be for the eastern side of the Bloomfield Hills School District, with South Hills Middle School. That's going to be the current Bloomfield Hills Middle School site. That's also being under construction. If you've driven out that way, you've been around Wing Lake Road or just before Telegraph, you've been down on that side of the community, you've probably seen that building at Bloomfield Hills Middle School has expanded. That is going to be the new South Hills Middle School, or Bloomfield Hills Middle School South in the community, over just a little bit east of us here in the greater West Bloomfield area. So again, East Hills Middle School is moving into the old Lasser facility that's currently under renovation. West Hills Middle School is going to combine with the current Bloomfield Hills Middle School into South Hills Middle School, or Bloomfield Hills Middle School South. Per the district's website, that equalizes these facilities, and the school district is going to add a space for STEM learning, science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as an auditorium to the South Middle School. And then at the North Middle School, they're going to add an additional classroom wing and a swimming pool for students and the community to use at the old Lasser building. Again, for more additional updates to the school district because of this bond and more of a construction timeline, you can find those on their website, bloomfield.org/bond. The new middle schools will begin operations this fall. Part of the construction, all the new facilities and further renovations will be completed in the summer of 2024. And as we approach the summer, and with final improvements in the summer of 2025, but the schools will be ready this fall. In terms of what's going to happen at the old Lone Pine Elementary School, my elementary school, as well as Eastover Elementary on the east side of the Bloomfield Hills School District, for the time being, those are planned to continue to be involved in Bloomfield Hills Schools' preschool program, or Bloomin' Tots, as they call it, until further notice. And they are actually looking, they have in recent months been looking to rename those facilities as they go throughout the school district for security purposes. The old Lone Pine Elementary School is no longer going to be called Lone Pine Elementary School. Lone Pine Elementary School is going to be what for many years has been known as West Hills Middle School, and so they're going to rename those facilities. Again, you can get a better timeline, all the details you need, see a bunch of images on the Bloomfield Hills Schools website, bloomfield.org/bond. That website also has links to their social media on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram, where you'll get even more updates, find even more pictures as these renovations go on. Really cool stuff happening in the Bloomfield Hills School District as they make some much needed improvements to their facilities and to reformat their schools to what they have generally been in the past, K through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12. All of our headlines making news today on our local news page, civiccentertv.com. You can always stay up to date with us on that page all throughout the week as we post links to articles from across our community here in Oakland County and in southeastern Michigan and statewide that are impacting you all throughout this work week. We have a great program ahead on today's edition of the Megacast. Stay tuned. On the other side of the break, we'll come back with more. We'll talk to some people in the community about things that are happening in the community this summer. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you.
I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important.
And now the same is true in the face of flu.
Influenza has the power to infect millions.
But it's easy to protect yourself, your family, and your community.
The flu vaccine is safe and effective. And with COVID-19 still around,
it's essential. Together we can face flu season head on.
Visit michigan.gov/flu.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Oakland County and the state of Michigan. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. You can always stay up to date with us and our partnering stations, including community television and radio outlets in your community by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast. In addition, that's where you'll find all of our full episodes and each individual segment on demand. So if you can't join us Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., you can always join us on the web, civiccentertv.com/megacast. It is officially summer. Summer is underway. Summer camps are underway, but not only those for students that are in neurotypical paths, those also that are neurodivergent, that may have special needs. They're also in need of some activities, some learning opportunities, some socializing this summer. And Allison Greene is joining us now, the founder of Our Neighborhood Academy, providing summer camp opportunities for young adults with special needs. Allison, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning. How are you today?
Glad to have you on the program. I'm doing great, Allison. Glad to have you on the program. So you are part of a nonprofit out of Berkeley called Our Neighborhood Academy. You announced earlier on this summer that your 2023 summer camps for young adults are underway. They're happening now, and they're going all the way through August. Tell us about some of your programs featured in 2023.
Yes, thank you. So we've been doing some summer camps. We've had we're currently in Kindness Week, and we've done a bunch of other themes throughout the year. And so we are excited. We have 3 more camps coming up. The next one being our Color Me Crazy Week, and then we have an Explore the Great Outdoors Week, and then finally we have the Game of Life Week. So we are able to connect with different businesses in the area, but also do some fun in-house activities like a craft or a cooking activity, lots of fun things to build on educational experiences, but also socialization with other young adults, and just to really be able to build some communications and connections with others.
And there's a number of different critical skills that go in to these camps that are the focal points of these camps to help these young adults with special needs navigate parts of life that they're going to have to be able to navigate down the road, especially as their parents age or maybe are no longer able to take care of them, or just simply so they can have their own sense of independence in our world today. So how do these camps help these individuals to hone in on those skills, build those skills, and be ready to use them in everyday life?
Right. So we offer the summer program, and it really works a lot with, like you said, young adults. And so that might be young adults with autism or Down syndrome or intellectual developmental disabilities. But really in the summer months, we have a lot of free time. And so students are off their daily routines and they miss their friends that they connect with. And so the summer program really kind of gives them a little bit of stability, a little bit of a schedule. It gives parents some free time during the day where they know that their young adult will be able to continue learning, but will also be able to kind of build on those critical communication skills or, life skills that we know is so important for those young adults. So that's kind of why we wanted to offer some summer programs for those in our area. So like I said, we're in downtown Berkeley, but we would love to have more young adults join our summer programs or anything and everyone. We'd love to have them. So it's a great experience so far.
So you mentioned that the camps are based, or the organization is based out of downtown Berkeley. It's aimed at young adults. Who are eligible for some of these camps, Allison?
Right. So anyone really 18 and up, we have some students who are, 18, some who are 22, 25, all the way up to some people who are 40. And so we don't really kind of discriminate by age kind of like that. When we say young adults, it's kind of like a broad term of young adults. So really anyone can join, and we just would love obviously more young adults to join and, have that stability and experience as well.
These summer camps, they're running all throughout the summer. They're based in about 3-day camps all the way through. They began last week in mid to late June and are running all the way through August. If people want to get involved, how can they get either their young adult on the autism spectrum or with Down syndrome or with other developmental disabilities involved in these camps if they'd like to, when they're already in process?
Great question. like I said, we have a storefront in downtown Berkeley, and we are right on 12 Mile between Coolidge and Greenfield. And you can give us a call. Our phone number here is 248-556-5332. Again, 248-556-5332. We have our website, which is just our name, which is ourneighborhoodacademy.com. And we have a Facebook and Instagram as well. So that's just Our Neighborhood Academy, both on Instagram and Facebook. So you can kind of look up the schedules and the dates there, as well as on our website. And you can feel free to call us and we can give you a tour. We'd love to provide more information if you're interested in the summer camps or what we do throughout the school year.
And let's dive into some of the other things that you do throughout the school year and throughout the non-summer portions of the year. These summer camps are going on now all the way through August, but that's not the only time of the year that Our Neighborhood Academy is working to help those with disabilities in our area, those that are in need of some additional help in learning some of these life skills that they can take into their everyday life.
Right. So I'm in our storefront right now. We have a small children's boutique, and we do children's clothing from newborn to 6T. We have some students that come for their job placement for like a adult transition program. So we have connections with the Berkeley Adult Transition Program as well as the Birmingham Public Schools. And we're very excited to have groups of students come throughout the school year to work on job skills. This past year, we've made T-shirts using Cricut machines. We've made fire starters, seed starters. We've made blankets for kind of in partnership with another company. And so we've really done a lot of unique opportunities that kind of build skills for job training, but then also you have a real storefront that people come into and are able to connect with those in the neighborhood and in the community. So we really enjoy having this space for young adults. And so not only do we do job skills, but we also do classes. So we use a Stanfield transition curriculum. So it goes through different curriculum modules. And so we teach classes. Usually right now they've been on Tuesday, Thursdays. So we, have a group of students who come and learn, for example, like resume building, job skills, life skills, how to use public transportation, different, connections to the real world. And then finally, we have our social program. So we have a list of social events and a calendar that we'd love for young adults to feel connected and come in and meet other young adults like them.
Joining us on the program today is Allison Greene. She is the founder of Our Neighborhood Academy. Again, you can find more information and ways to get involved on ourneighborhoodacademy.com. Ourneighborhoodacademy.com is their website. You can also find them at Our Neighborhood Academy on Facebook and on Instagram, or call them 248-556-5332, 248-556-5332. And having a brother on the autism spectrum, having known what my parents had gone through as he was entering his adult life, trying to help him build those additional skills, refine those skills as he was entering the workforce and going into school, I have some awareness of just how effective these kind of programs can be. But for those that may not be familiar with these kinds of programs, for parents that may be unsure if these are going to really be effective for their adult children, just how much do these sort of programs in our community, whether it's Our Neighborhood Academy or others that are available, just how effective are they in helping these individuals take that next step toward their independence?
Right. That's a great question. I think these programs are really beneficial for young adults. It's kind of once we see those students or young adults kind of graduate from either high school or a post-secondary program, they kind of lose all of those, I guess, things that we are used to during a school. So like all the support systems that they have. So oftentimes students are, at home alone. Sometimes they're playing video games and they don't have the connections that they're used to, or, typical of in a school program. So really any program is really going to give connection and be able to provide continued learning for young adults or adults with varying disabilities. So I think these programs are very beneficial. The students that come here, they love the connections that they've made with different peers that they would have normally never met. And so we would love, more young adults to come and join our programs or join programs that are out there so they can, make those connections, but also really continue their learning and be able to feel like they're a better connected individual.
And expanding on the social aspects of this, because the life skills are obviously incredibly important. They're going to play a huge role in the success and the outcomes for these individuals that may have developmental disorders or other special needs that these skills are really helpful for. But the social aspects of it, being able to interact with people with similar life experiences to help them in their learning as they help you in your learning, that can also be a really huge part of this for these particular communities in our local area.
Right. So that's kind of where our program kind of started. We knew that a lot of programs in the area, they focus on the learning and they focus on, job training. And so we wanted to do that, but we also wanted to bring in that social aspect. So we kind of take insight on what the students enjoy or what the young adults, they say, oh, we want to go do this or we want to do that. And sometimes, for example, we were talking in class one day and the students were saying, oh, I want to go to a monster truck rally. And I was like, oh, well, those are really loud. Do you know that? And so they're like, yeah, I don't do well with loud noises. And I'm like, well, do you know that, monster trucks are really loud? And so he's like, yeah, maybe I wouldn't want to go do that. So we kind of took that insight and we said, well, what if we made our own? So we have an event coming up where we're going to make, jumps for mini monster truck rally. And then we're going to, use remote control cars and kind of do it our own kind of special way. So we kind of take ideas from what the young adults or, students that we have that are interested in, and then we try to make a social event. So we've done, movie nights, we've done jam making, we've done, our different arts and crafts kind of things. We've done minute to win it games or game nights. So just trying to find things that are unique to them, and even like an idea of a writing night or some sort of, drawing or connecting with an author. So it's just lots of different ideas that we take from the young adults themselves and really try to connect to them socially.
You can find more information and ways to get involved at ourneighborhoodacademy.com or call them 248-556-5332. Allison, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us. And again, we'd love to have your young adult join us here at our Neighborhood Academy, or ONA, what we call it. So thank you.
Their program's happening now, their summer programs, now through August 7th. That's their final camp beginning. Game of Life Week is their final camp for the summer, August 7th through 10th. You can register and find more information still today on their website, ourneighborhoodacademy.com. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, one of over 350 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform will join us. Stay tuned. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Oakland County and the state of Michigan. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft. You can always join us Monday through Friday live from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., as well as find us live to tape and on demand on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. That's details on all of our partnering stations here in Oakland County and statewide. You can join us live and live to tape throughout the days, and also ways you can find us on demand and watch us on your time anytime. Civic Center TV. civiccenter.tv.com/megacast. Well, part of building a stable household is an effort from both the community, the neighborhoods, your own household, and individuals as well. That includes a huge element of this, a strong relationship between a father and their child, or a father figure and their child or children. One of the organizations in our local area, COTS Detroit, is putting forth a new Dad-scussions effort in order to help fathers facilitate some of those better and stronger relationships at home. Joining us now on the program is Gerald Edwards, the Dad-scussions facilitator for COTS Detroit. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on to talk to us about COTS's new Fatherhood initiative. This has been going on for just a couple of years. It's a relatively new initiative. So tell us about this Fatherhood initiative and what it is focusing on in our local area.
Okay, the Fatherhood initiative is a COTS effort that was really based and founded through the Kresge Foundation. It was some funding that they provided for a consortium to do a study on fatherhood and family issues. It was birthed ultimately out of Alameda County with a gentleman named Kevin Bremen and Dara Griffin were the first, were basically the founders of this in conjunction, as I said, in conjunction with the Kresge Foundation. The purpose of this is to really more or less redefine some of the stereotypical definitions that have been developed in terms of fatherhood, especially fathers of color, Black and brown fathers who have been kind of perceived as being uninvolved and not interested in their children and being involved in their children's lives, which nothing could be further from the truth. These fathers are individuals that actually do love their children, want to be in their lives, want to interact with them, want to guide them and to participate in their lives. I know of no father that wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to see if I can be the worst father known to man. That they really are desirous of being in their father's lives. And so out of that overall general a definition of what we've seen as we have developed this fatherhood initiative that now has a branch of it called Dad-scussions. Dad-scussions is right now has been a Zoom meeting that meets once a month and brings on different resources to meet with the fathers, to help them to measure up to be the fathers that they are really desirous of being. We have had individuals on Dad-scussions, such as the Lakeshore Legal Aid, to help fathers to understand their rights of fatherhood. That we've had some individuals from Bank of America have come on and talked about establishing credit, talked about investments and savings to help to overall foment a foundation for families. We are later in the summer, we're going to be doing some family fishing outings. We're going to be going to Tigers games, but just doing wholesome things besides providing the fathers with resources that can help them to stabilize and effectively create opportunities for them to be the fathers that they desire. We're going to also be doing some fun social things that the fathers can interact with other families and with their own, and then to be able to do some fun things. We believe that the fatherhood experience needs to be a very wholesome, well-rounded experience, and that's what we are attempting to create through the Dad-scussions and through the overall Fatherhood initiative.
And you mentioned, Gerald, that this is about taking what COTS Detroit and what this initiative overall defines as fatherhood and helping to refine that in fathers across our local area. So from the organization standpoint, what does fatherhood mean to COTS Detroit and that organization? But also on a personal level, Gerald, what does fatherhood mean to you?
Well, fatherhood is very critical. Let's look at it from the organization's perspective first. The fatherhood and being a father is very, very critical because the fathers are a key part of the family. And so many times, a lot of organizations, and as was the case with COTS, works solely with a lot of women and their children, mothers and their children, and the fathers are kind of by the way, kind of an also-ran and not really included in the activities and the livelihood and the life of the family. And so we have recognized that shortfall and recognized the need to include the fathers in what we do and make that an integral part of what we do, because fathers are an integral part of the family. For me, fatherhood is oh so important, oh so critical to who I am as an individual, who I am as a man, and to be able to show that leadership in my family, but doing it in a kind and loving way that I can now show my family, my children, and others that are watching. And make no mistake about it, we as the heads of families and as fathers, we're observed and we're watched by individuals who we hope we're doing the kind of things that we want others to recognize and emulate and bring that a part of their families. I am about wanting to make sure as best that I can with all that is within me to make sure that the families and the fatherhood involvement in families is a wholesome and a very integral part of my family and every family that we want to represent and to influence.
More information can be found on COTS Detroit's website, COTSDetroit.org. At the top of the page, there will be a link to the Fatherhood Initiative that will take you to the Fatherhood Initiative's direct website for even more information and ways that you can participate. We're joined on today's edition of the program by COTS Detroit's Dad-scussions facilitator, Gerald Edwards, along with COTS Detroit, one of over 350 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Gerald, for those that may be interested in these kinds of programs, fathers or even father figures, how can they get involved? Who's eligible to participate, and how can they make that happen?
As you just mentioned about the cotsdetroit.org/fatherhood, you can go into that website and you can get information about the Fatherhood Initiative. And there we have each month when we have our monthly meetings, we produce a flyer that kind of talks about that month's subject and or presenter and what we're going to be talking about. So it is there on that website and allows for individuals to be able to register for the Zoom meeting. But our next meeting, we're not meeting in the month of July, but the August meeting will be an in-person meeting, and it will be held at our Peggy's Place Family Shelter, and that will take place on the third Tuesday of August. And again, that flyer and the information that we're going to be sharing will be on the website. And we are open and inviting for any father, any grandfather, any male that is interested in recognizing they're going to become a father soon and or one day. We want all men to be able to, they're invited to join us no matter what stage or phase of fatherhood you are, whether you are now or will be. Please come and join us on our involvement with our Dad-scussions and and whatever we're doing that month. It is open to all men. So just make sure that you feel totally welcomed and invited, because you are.
And that's a really interesting point too, Gerald, because people at different stages of fatherhood, whether they're an expecting father, they're anticipating maybe becoming a father, they have been one, maybe they're a grandparent, they all come with different experiences, they all come with different shortcomings maybe that they've experienced in their fatherhood, and can teach each other also some of these lessons too. So especially with there being in August, you mentioned the in-person Dad-scussions. Have you found, even overall, as these have been over Zoom facilitated so far, that's also created a sense of a community amongst fathers in the local area?
Yeah, absolutely. It has, but we're now recognizing that we need more than just to have the meeting and invite individuals who will come and join us. We need to have that special personal connection and touch. And that's why we're moving now to the in-person, because we really want people to be able to comfortably interact one with another, share their ideas, their thoughts, their experiences, and to be able to bring people from where they are to the level that they want to be. We are very non-judgmental. We have people coming to us. We don't pass any judgment and say, well, what do you need to do and what you should be doing? We don't do that. We offer what we offer with the intent of offering information and resources and connectivity to those fathers to help them to just grasp on to. It's like going to a buffet. You don't eat everything that's there, but you eat the part that you want, what you need, what you like. Take that, incorporate it, use it to make for a better experience for you and your children.
In the end, when all is said and done, Gerald, what ultimately is both COTS Detroit and even for yourself personally, your goal in terms of what fathers or father figures are taking away from this program?
What we're trying to provide and wanting them to take away is the resource information that we provide, the relationship development between them, our staff, and other fathers, and again, to help them to move to a level. And I have to caution myself and never using the term so that they can be better fathers, because that kind of implies that they're not good fathers or they could be different. And so we just really don't want to use that as a judgmental kind of a statement. We want those fathers to take away that which they need, want, and desire to make themselves a better father. And when I say better father, that's being the father that they see that they are and the father that they want to become. And that's the key to elevate themselves to a level of where their desires to be in order to be more effective in their family relationships.
You can find more information and ways to get involved in the Fatherhood initiative, including Dad-scussions through COTS Detroit on their website, cotsdetroit.org, or also go to sharedetroit.org and search under their Find a Nonprofit section for COTS Detroit. And again, the next Dad-scussions event will be happening in person in August. cotsdetroit.org to find more information, or follow them on social media on Facebook at COTS Detroit. Same goes for both Twitter and Instagram. COTS Detroit is the place to look. Gerald, anything else we haven't discussed yet on Dad-scussions that would be important for our audience to keep in mind as we wrap things up today?
Okay, just briefly, we have also developed a photo bank of Black and brown fathers interacting with their children. That this photo bank is what you would look for as a file photos for advertisement, for whatever you might want to show family involvement, because we again are trying to change the narrative of Black and brown fathers. And so that photo bank is also on our website, that you can access it with a subscription through COTS. You can access the photo bank to be able to just get fathers that are interacting with their children in a very casual way. One last thing about that, this again was developed in Alameda County, and some of those photos showed up on buses because they were using it for advertisement for Head Start programs. And so, again, they're for wholesome advertisement for individuals that need and want to show the positive aspects of Black and brown fathers. We have that in our photo banks.
Gerald, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to have you on. cotsdetroit.org or sharedetroit.org for more information on this Fatherhood Initiative and the Dad-scussions program. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. Big thank you to each and every one of our guests, Allison Greene from Our Neighborhood Academy, and of course, Gerald Edwards from the Dad-scussions program through COTS's Fatherhood Initiative. You can always find these and all of our programs on demand, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Huge thank you as well to our crew, Jared Clark, our director at Master Control at My Michigan TV, as well as Rich Miller at the studio of Civic Center TV. Until next time, I'm Tyler Kieft. Take care of each other, and we'll see you very soon.